Hello to all of you. When you see this picture, what is it that you think of? You might think, wow, at this, it's so hot. I would love to be out on the water or in the water. You might think, it's amazing. Why couldn't I live right on the river? You might think, where is that? Can I go there? I want you to focus for the moment on the boat, the jet boat. What do you see about the jet boat? Maybe you see there are a lot of people in that boat. Maybe you see they are having a great time, and I bet that boat gets up and moves. Maybe you're looking at, I wonder what the age of the people are. I wonder how many are friends. Maybe you're thinking they are packed in like sardines. Okay, I want you to hold on to that. And now I want us to think about how we build relationship. How we build relationship makes a difference on who we can reach for Christ. Hang in there with me. You've heard me say that building relationship is really important to reach people for Christ. We have to build, if we have the time. I'm not talking about a situation where you're in line at the grocery store. I'm talking about when you have the time to build a relationship with someone. In that boat, there are a lot of people that have relationship with each other. I don't know how many in that boat know Christ, but I know that there's a lot of them that have built relationship. I want you to look at the houses on the shore that are right above my head. I wonder how many of them have built relationship with their neighbors. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses. Now, granted, one of them is to the side of the picture, one is in the back of the picture, but I'm counting 6 houses that are closely knit together. They probably, each one of them, with the exception of the one in the back, each one of them seems to have a path down to the river. And I am wondering whether they have relationship. Here's my point. We go about our days and we look at what we have to do for the day, but I wonder how much time and effort we put into the relationship building that can happen so that we can speak into somebody's life about Jesus. I have been doing some training in reference to evangelism, and one of the things that the training has said is what you already have heard, which is relationship building is really important. But the other thing, and I think a lot of you have heard this too, is it's not just the pastor's job to spread the word of Christ, because quite simply, any pastor cannot reach as many as all of you. And the longer that we have a relationship with Christ, it may be that the less non-Christian relationships we have. When we have a church family, we are spending time and having relationship with those in the church more and more. But what about the relationships outside of the church? Maybe the relationships that happen in the neighbor's yard or down at the river where these houses seem to go, or in the boat. Where are the relationships in your life? See, I don't think it's just a matter of on vacation. This isn't a mission trip where we have a trip, it's one and done. This is a life of mission. So where every day in your life can you talk with people that you have relationship with about Christ? And it may be, and I'm talking about people that don't have a solid foundation of the love of Christ. Maybe it's somebody at work. Maybe it is one of your family members. Maybe it's your kids that they're just trying to grasp onto who Christ is. Maybe it's your spouse or a sibling or somebody that you meet at the gym and you work out together. What relationship do you have where it's more of a non-Christian relationship, and how can you build in conversation about Christ? Well, I think one of the ways that we have to prepare is to make sure that in that relationship, there's openness to having the spiritual conversation. This isn't about beating somebody over the head. We don't want to beat anyone over the head. But there was a study done by Barna that says 62% of non-believers and or non-practicing Christians are open to having a spiritual conversation. 62% of non-believers are open to having conversation about who Christ is. So the odds are, when you have relationships outside of church, that 2 out of every 3 are willing to or open to having a conversation about who Christ is. I think the next step is, how do we have that conversation? I'm just going to give you one example, and then I'm going to encourage you to find an example this week. So one example might be on Monday morning or Tuesday morning, somebody says to you that you have a relationship with, so how was your weekend? And you go, you know what? It was great. So on Saturday, I did have to clean some house, but I got all of that done before noon. And then my family went to a movie. It was a great movie. And this is the movie. And this is why I thought it was good, although I'm not going to mess it up for you, but I'm not going to give you any endings or anything, but I think you should go see it. It's a great movie. And then on Sunday, we went to church, and the pastor was talking about, and then you can fill in the blank. What was important to you that your pastor was talking about at church? It can be just 1, 2, 3 lines worth, and that's it. And then you can say, how about you? How was your weekend? So you just let that go. And you did not start with anything about church. You started with what happened on Saturday, and you just had an integrated conversation that was normal and natural about what happened at church. And then you ask them how they were over the weekend and what happened with them. And you're giving some space for either first them to ponder what it is you said, but then also to ask questions if they want about what happened at church. But it's really non-threatening, and it's just being in the presence of the person you have a relationship with in a non-threatening way. That's an example. And even if they ask no questions at all about church, that's fine. You've planted that seed of conversation with them, and they might come back to you at another time and say, you talked about church. And I mean, this might be a few weeks down the road. What did your pastor say this week in church? So I encourage you to plant those types of seeds in the relationships that you have. We just again, in this picture that I have, there are a lot of relationships that we can see that are there, that are formed. We have a lot of relationships that happen on the weekends. If you were blessed to go out on a boat, on a Saturday, you can share that before you share what happened on Sunday. If you are blessed to be on a boat and somehow the conversation about God shows up, well, absolutely, you walk into that conversation. And so that leads me to, no matter what you are doing on your weekend or everyday life, let's also pray for the opportunities to have relationship, the opportunities to have conversation with people about who Christ is and what Christ means to each one of us. Okay, I've said a mouthful. I hope this has given you a lot to think about over the next week. God bless.